Welcome to PH Insight. Know the force behind the flag. Whether it's warships, fighter jets, or the next big defense move. If it matters to Philippine security, it's here. F-16 deal on hold, Philippines faces hard choices in Multirole Fighter project. The Philippines' long-awaited Multirole Fighter, MRF, acquisition project has hit another crossroads. On September 9, 2025, Philippine Ambassador to the United States Jose Manuel Romualdez confirmed that the planned acquisition of 20 brand new F-16C/D Block 7072 Viper fighter aircraft from American defense giant Lockheed Martin has been put on hold. At a staggering $5.56 billion, roughly 310 billion Cuban pesos, the F-16 package represents one of the most ambitious single defense acquisitions in Philippine history. While the Philippine Air Force, PAF, and Department of National Defense, DND, had leaned toward the American jet due to its advanced capabilities and interoperability with allies, the lack of a clear financing scheme from the U.S. has left the project in limbo. Meanwhile, competitor nations like Sweden and Italy have offered generous long-term financing packages, making their aircraft, the Gripen E/F and Leonardo's platforms, more accessible despite lower immediate capability compared to the F-16. This development underscores not just the financial challenges of Philippine defense modernization, but also the political frustrations at home, where billions lost to corruption highlight the painful irony of a country unable to afford fighter jets while public funds are siphoned away. The F-16 Block 7072 Viper was the clear frontrunner for the MRF project. It offered not only aircraft but also an expansive industrial package. A maintenance, repair, and overhaul (MRO) hub for F-16s and C-130s in the Philippines. An innovation center to nurture local aerospace expertise. Partnerships with Philippine universities and Southern Methodist University, SMU, in Texas for technology transfer, research, and workforce development. A promise to generate up to 50 billion Cuban pesos in economic value and create at least 2,000 jobs. Strategically, the F-16 would embed the Philippines firmly in the U.S.-led defense ecosystem, ensuring interoperability with allies like Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, all of whom rely heavily on American technology. But for all its strategic value, the price tag remains formidable. Without flexible financing, the Philippines would need to commit a massive portion of its defense modernization budget upfront, a challenge for a nation balancing territorial defense with internal security, infrastructure needs, and disaster response. One of the most glaring contrasts in the MRF competition is how the offers are financed. Sweden's Saab, offering the Gripen, has proposed long-term government-backed financing schemes, allowing the Philippines to spread payments over decades. Italy's Leonardo has done the same, leveraging its experience in structured defense financing for developing nations. By contrast, the United States has not provided a similar mechanism. Instead, Washington has relied on foreign military financing, FMF, grants and loans, which remain limited and unpredictable. Ambassador Romualdez did not hide his disappointment. Without financing flexibility, the F-16 becomes not only the most capable option, but also the hardest to pay for. For many Filipinos, the funding excuse is particularly painful when placed against the backdrop of corruption at home. In the last decade, it is estimated that more than 1 trillion Cuban pesos, over twice the funding required for the entire F-16 package, was lost to corruption, particularly in the Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, flood control projects. That money could have paid not just for the F-16s, but also for complementary systems like long-range radars, air defense missiles, and training programs. Instead, it vanished into graft-ridden projects with little impact on national security or development. This contrast has fueled frustration and ridicule among defense observers. If the Philippines can afford to lose trillions to corruption, why can't it afford the jets needed to defend its sovereignty? Ambassador Romualdez was quick to clarify, the F-16 deal is on hold, but the MRF project itself is not. The Philippine Air Force still urgently requires a modern multirole fighter to replace its aging fleet of light fighters and to provide credible deterrence in the West Philippine Sea. This means that while the F-16 has stumbled due to financing, the door remains open for other contenders, and even for the F-16 itself, should a breakthrough in financing emerge. With the F-16's high costs creating obstacles, the Gripen E/F re-emerges as the practical alternative. Its advantages are clear. Lower acquisition cost, making it easier to fit into the defense budget. Lower operating and maintenance costs, allowing the PAF to fly more missions with less strain on resources. High sortie rate and dispersed operations capability, ideal for a geographically fragmented nation like the Philippines. Attractive financing packages from the Swedish government. In short, the Gripen may not carry the same political weight as the F-16, but it offers a workable path to getting jets in the sky sooner, without paralyzing the defense budget. South Korea's KF-21 Boramae presents yet another layer of complexity. Based on the F-16 design philosophy, the Boramae is envisioned as a next-generation fighter bridging the gap between 4th and 5th generation jets. While not yet fully mature, it could be a long-term acquisition in the 2030s, particularly as the Philippines already operates South Korea's Fa-50 Fighting Eagle. If financing issues continue to haunt the F-16, the Boramae could become a future anchor of the PAF's fighter fleet. The debate is no longer just about aircraft performance. It is about how the Philippines manages its limited resources and whether it prioritizes short-term affordability or long-term strategic alignment. The Gripen offers a practical solution today, with financing options that make it achievable. The F-16 offers unmatched long-term benefits, including interoperability with allies and industrial partnerships, but is blocked by its enormous cost and lack of financing schemes. The Boramae represents a possible compromise in the future, but is not ready today. The choice is as much about national priorities as it is about jets. The shelving of the F-16 deal highlights the painful contradictions of Philippine defense planning. On one hand, the country faces urgent external threats that demand credible air power. On the other, it struggles to allocate resources effectively, even as corruption drains public coffers by the trillions. Ambassador Romualdez's confirmation that the F-16 deal is on hold is not the end of the story. It is a reminder that while aircraft can be delayed, threats cannot. The Philippine Air Force must move forward with the MRF project, whether through the Gripen, the F-16 with new financing, or a future option like the Boramae. What remains clear is this: the decision will define the Philippines' defense posture for decades to come. It is not simply about what the country can afford, it is about what the country is willing to prioritize.